Hey everyone, my name is Paul Vojchehoske and welcome to the Real Estate Classroom YouTube channel. In today's real estate exam prep video, we're going to discuss how to calculate equity in someone's home. All of that in this video. All right, so in today's video, we're going to discuss how to calculate equity. I'm going to teach you what equity is and why it's important for a real estate professional. Equity is simply the home's value, and this also applies to any asset, whether it be stock or a car, a coin collection or anything. But when we're talking about equity in relation to a home, it's basically the home's value minus the debts and the liabilities against the home. And what I mean by liabilities is, let's say that there is mortgages against the property or home loans. There are liens against the property. Maybe there's a mechanic's lien. Maybe there's weed liens that the city or municipality put against the lien. That is a debt against the property. Special assessments or delinquent property taxes. Those are things that are liabilities that count against a home, the value or the asset of the home. There are a couple of calculations that I want to cover because they're the most probable type of question, I guess, or real estate math question you're going to have on your real estate licensing exam. So let's take a look at the first one. So the first one is Tom owns 123 Main Street and it's valued at $200,000. The loan balance or the principal loan balance against the property is $100,000. How much equity does Tom have in his home? And quite frankly, the calculation is pretty simple. We take the value of the home, which is $200,000. We minus or subtract the debt, which is $100,000. That gives us an equity position of $100,000. Now remember, equity can actually be positive or negative. So let's say that there was $300,000 owed against the property and the property is valued at $200,000. That means there would be a negative $100,000 equity position. So it can be, it's like cash flow. It can be positive or negative. Practice problem number 2. Sometimes the real estate licensing exam will throw in a few extra added tidbits that you don't need for the calculation, or they will throw in an extra mortgage or an extra debt. And I've provided both of them here. So the problem says Sally purchased a property for $300,000 and put 20% down. The property is currently valued at $350,000 with a mortgage balance of $200,000. Sally also has a second mortgage on the property of $50,000. How much equity does Sally have in her home? Now, a couple of extra things in here was put into the problem. Number one, the first sentence, Sally purchased a property for $300,000 and put 20% down. Remember, all we're looking for in calculating equity is the value of the home minus the debts and liabilities charged against the home. So the first sentence really does have any impact one way or another on the calculation. Here's what is though. The home is valued at $350,000 and there are 2 mortgages against the property, which means there are 2 debts against the property. That's what we need to know. So let's take a look at what that mathematical calculation looks like. So you can see on the bottom of your screen, that means we have $350,000 value, and then we're going to subtract from that value $250,000. That's the total amount between the first mortgage and the second mortgage. Therefore, when we take $350,000 minus $250,000 in total debts, that means we have an equity position, or Sally has an equity position in that home of $100,000 in equity. And that's really the 2 simplest ways to calculate, or at least the 2 most common types of questions you're going to see on your real estate licensing exam regarding how to calculate equity. All right, if you're going to continue studying for your real estate exam and you want to watch more math videos, check out this video to my right. And if you have not subscribed, click the little circle to my left. I would appreciate you subscribing. Comments and questions down below. Have an awesome day. I'll see you in my next video.